the session shortly. Good evening, everybody. Thank you all for registering and attending this one-week national level online faculty development program on Indian Knowledge Systems, IKS, organized by the UGC-Malaviya Mission Teacher Training Center, UGC-MMTTC, Gauhati University, and the Internal Quality Assurance Cell of Gauhati University, Gauhati, Assam, in association with IPSR Solutions Limited. Today, we would like to welcome Professor Nani Gopal Mahanta, Honourable Vice Chancellor, Gauhati University, Dr. Mendes Jacob, MD and CEO, IPSR Solutions Limited, Professor and Director, MCM Marian College, Kuttikanam Autonomous, Professor Baban Tanti, Director, UGC-Malaviya Mission Teacher Training Center, UGC-MMTTC, Gauhati University, Professor Durbair Jyoti Saharia, Director, Internal Quality Assurance Cell, IQAC, Gauhati University. Dr. Bharat Das, he'll be one of the resource person, Acting Dean, Faculty of Eastern Knowledge Systems at Sri University. Dr. T.V. Muralivallabhan, Director, Center for Sustainable Development and Marine Institute of Management, Marine College, Kuttikanam Autonomous. He'll be the resource person for today. And then we have Dr. Suresh Nambudiri, Director, IPSR Solutions Limited and SPO Technologies, Pune. Dr. Kumaresh Sarma, Assistant Professor, Department of Electronics and Communication Technology, Gauhati University. And we would like to welcome all the FDP resource persons, managers, directors, principals, vice principals, representatives from management, HODs, IQAC coordinators, and all faculty members. Now, about this FDP, this is a one-week FDP program with live sessions, which is from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. We expect you to be present on all days. The fee for LMS access and processing of certificate is ₹500, which you can pay online to the following the account details, which I've already put in the chat, and you need to give the transaction details to the WhatsApp also. That is the number that I've put in the chat. All the participants who have made a payment will receive the LMS access, the video recordings for all the days, and the provision to download your FDP completion certificate. The procedure for receiving the certificate will be informed to you towards the end of the FDP. If you are unable to attend any of the live sessions, the recording will be available in the LMS. Now, we have shared the LMS access details through email to those who have shared the payment through WhatsApp till yesterday. Those who have shared the details today will receive the LMS access details mail later in the day or by. If you have any trouble in attending the WebEx online session, you can also alternatively attend it in the YouTube. The YouTube link, live link, I will put it in the chat now. Okay, so if you have any issues with WebEx, you can also join on YouTube Live. Okay, it's also there on YouTube Live. And my name is Sujin Jacob George. I'm working as Global Relations Manager with IPSR Solutions Limited, and I will be the event moderator. Now, introductions about Gauhati University, Gauhati, Assam. Gauhati University was established in 1948. It's one of the oldest and most prestigious institutions of higher education in Northeast India. Located in Gauhati, Assam, the university was founded under the Gauhati University Act of 1947 to meet the growing educational needs of the region. Recognized as a premier postgraduate and research institution, Gauhati University is accredited with NAC A+ grade and consistently ranked among the top universities in Northeast India. It offers a wide range of academic programs across disciplines such as art, science, commerce, law, and engineering, supported by numerous postgraduate departments at hundreds of affiliated colleges. As the largest and oldest university in the region, Gauhati University has played a pioneering role in the shaping higher education in Northeast India. It serves as an academic and cultural hub, contributing significantly to the intellectual, social, and economic development of Assam and the surrounding states. The university is committed to promoting inclusive and quality education, research excellence, and societal development. With a rich legacy of distinguished alumni, including eminent scholars, artists, scientists, and political leaders, it continues to nurture talent and uphold its motto of achieving excellence through learning. Now, coming to introduction about IPSR Solutions Limited. IPSR is a public limited IT company led by academicians and technology experts, specializing in innovative AI platforms and smart technology solutions. With 26 years of experience, IPSR has partnered with 500 plus higher education institutions, including major government universities and autonomous colleges. Its academic solutions and mentoring services support institutions in achieving excellence and accreditation readiness through quality strategies for accreditation rankings, effective OBE implementation with accurate attainment and analysis, AI-assisted OBE alignment examination management systems, AI and critical thinking-based research enablement, academic collaborations, value-added courses and internships, custom accreditation-friendly websites and web applications. Now, before we move on to the sessions, if you all please could turn on your videos. We would like to take some screenshots for our documentation purpose. Yes, please turn on your videos for a few seconds. After that, you can turn it off. We just need to have your videos turned on so that we can take some screenshots for our documentation. All right, you can turn off your videos. Now we will move on to the first session, that is going to be the welcome address and speech. This is going to be delivered by Professor Bhavan Tandi, Director, UGC-Malaviya Mission Teacher Training Center, UGC MMTTC, Gauhati University. Professor Bhavan Tandi is a senior academician from the Department of Botany at Gauhati University, specializing in molecular biology, plant biotechnology, and conservation science. With over 20 years of experience, his research focuses on crop stress physiology, conservation of endangered plant species, and sustainable agriculture, particularly in Northeast India. He has international research exposure from the United States and plays key roles in academic leadership, quality assurance, and faculty development. His work emphasizes integrating traditional ecological knowledge with modern science for sustainable development. Over to you, sir.
Okay. Good evening. Dr. Kumaras, am I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. The respected Honourable Vice Chancellor of Gauhati University, distinguished guest, Professor Mendes Jacob, moderator, Mr. George, the coordinator from the Gauhati University, Dr. Kumaras Sharma, esteemed dignitaries, respected faculty members, resource persons, participants joining us from across the nation, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm and gracious welcome to all of you to this online platform. It gives me immense pleasure and a deep sense of privilege to welcome you to the inaugural program of the National Level Faculty Development Program on Indian Knowledge System, which is jointly organized by the UGC-Malaviya Mission Teacher Training Center and the Internal Quality Assurance Cell of Gauhati University in association with IPSR Solutions Limited. At the outset, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to our Honourable Vice Chancellor, Professor Nani Gopal Mahanta, for kindly consenting to be the chief guest of this inaugural session. Sir, your visionary leadership and constant encouragement continue to inspire us in organizing such nationally significant academic initiative. You're most welcome, sir. I also take this opportunity to warmly welcome Professor Mendes Jacob, Managing Director and CEO of IPSR Solutions Limited, whose presence adds immense values to this program. His expertise and contributions in bridging knowledge systems with modern technological frameworks will undoubtedly enrich the deliberations of this FDP. And this faculty development program on Indian knowledge system comes at a very crucial juncture, especially in the context of the National Education Policy 2020, which strongly emphasizes the integration of Indians' rich intellectual traditions with contemporary educations. IKS is not merely a subject of study, it is a kind of living repository of our civilizational wisdom encompassing science, philosophy, medicine, agriculture, arts, astronomy, and sustainable living practices. We are truly delighted to witness the overwhelming responses to this program with a large number of participants from across the country. And this remarkable participation reflects the growing academic interest and national commitment towards rediscovering, preserving, and mainstreaming Indian knowledge system in higher education. The UGC Malaviya Mission Teacher Training Center, Gauhati University, has been constantly striving to promote quality enhancement in teaching learning processes through such kind of initiative. And in collaboration with IQAC and our esteemed partner, that is the IPSR Solutions Limited, we aim to provide a comprehensive platform for meaningful academic engagement, interdisciplinary dialogue, and capacity building. And I'm confident that this FDP will provide valuable insights, foster intellectual exchange, and empower educators to integrate IKS perspectives into their pedagogy and research practices. Before I conclude, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to the organizing team, resource persons, technical staff, and all stakeholders who have worked tirelessly to make this program possible. Once again, I extend my warmest welcome to all the participants and wish you a fruitful, enriching, and intellectually stimulating experiences. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for the welcome address. We will now move on to the inaugural address. This is going to be delivered by Professor Nani Gopal Mahanta, the Honourable Vice Chancellor of Gauhati University, Assam. Professor Nani Gopal Mahanta is the Vice Chancellor of Gauhati University. He is a distinguished political science scholar specializing in Indian politics, public policy, and Northeast India's socio-political landscape. With extensive experience in academia and administration, he has contributed significantly to research on governance, identity, and regional development. He has also served as education advisor to the government of Assam, supporting key academic reforms. His work promotes academic excellence, interdisciplinary research, and the integration of traditional knowledge with modern education. Over to you, sir. So you're on mute. You need to unmute.
Okay. Am I audible now?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, please.
Okay, right. Namaskar and good evening to all of you. All our esteemed colleagues who are there on online mode, our respectable and esteemed colleagues from IPSR Solution, Mendas Jacobji, Honourable CEO, George Dangoria, and my esteemed colleagues from Gauhati University, MMTC Director, Professor Tati, Dr. Kumares, and all other esteemed colleagues who have joined online. My greetings to all of you. As being the Vice Chancellor of Gauhati University, I do have the honor and privilege to welcome all of you to this online program on Indian knowledge system, which is jointly organized by Gauhati University's MMTC, our IQAC, along with IPSR Solution. Well, when we talk about Indian knowledge system, as I look at it, Indian education system or Bharatiya Gyan Parampara has been passing through certain phases. How many minutes do I have, by the way?
Respond to sir.
How many minutes am I supposed to speak?
So, you have 10 to 15 minutes.
Okay, ठीक है. So within that stipulated time, I would like to complete my presentation. So when I look at India's education system, I look it as passing through a trajectory. Trajectory, when I call it trajectory, if we look at, I divide it into 4 phases. The first being the Gurukul system of education, that is the first phase of our Bharatiya Gyan Parampara. The second phase, which actually tried to disrupt the continuity of this system, was by the Macaulay system, which is the British system. And the third is the post-independence period, when we had seen plethora of commissions which were introduced in order to revitalize Indian education system. And the fourth, being the most transformative one, rather, is National Education Policy of 2020. So these 4 phases are very, very critical for understanding the evolution of Indian education system. The first being the Gurukul system, where, for example, India's this NEP approach paper does have reference to Krishna's 64 kalas, which were imparted by Sandipani Muni, Sandipani, his guru. So here, actually, in this Gurukul system, all the important facets of life they were introduced, like geometry, mathematics, engineering, then diplomacy, household, then navigation, art, culture. All these things were imparted within this Gurukul system, and those who could, pass, or who have done well in this Gurukul system, those the selected ones were sent for the higher education, like Takshashila, Nalanda, the plethora of higher educational institution for which India was famous for at that point of time. So that was the Gurukul system. After that, the Macaulay system, which was introduced after the coming of the Britishers, he tried to completely go away from the Indian education system and introduce a system which is, they tried to vilify. They tried to vilify the Indian Bharatiya Gyan Parampara by saying that a few libraries in the West is far more superior to the Oriental libraries of India or even other Islamic countries. So there was a process of, they had ridiculed at our system of education. But nevertheless, with the passage of time, with the introduction of modernity, perhaps that was the need of the hour. I do not want to go into details. So that was the second phase. When you look at the third phase from the post-independence period, you would see variety of commissions like Radhakrishnan, Kothari Commission, Ramamurthy Commission, for example, looking into higher secondary and other Then 1967, you had another new education policy at that point of time. Then subsequently, some private initiatives were taken. Well, DPEP was introduced. Then Samagra Shiksha came in. Then universalization of primary education. Then etc. So these are some of the initiatives being undertaken during the time of post-independence period. Well, my purpose is not to argue that these were completely useless, but you would see when I talk about the fourth phase, that is the national education policy. National education policy is a continuity and discontinuity. Why I call it a continuity? Because this national education policy is trying to accommodate the good points of not only those commissions of Radhakrishnan like Kothari or Yaspal and so on and so forth. It also tries to include the basic root where Bharatiya Gyan Parampara, Bharatiya civilization, Bharatiya society is embedded. That is our Gurukul system. That is the Vedantic principles. So national education policy is a revolutionary process, is a transformative process because it tries to include all the good points of our Gurukul system, even the English system, as well as the post-independence period, at the same time trying to address the challenges of 21st century. Like while talking about the Bharatiya Gyan Parampara, it also looks forward how to incorporate the skill education, the role of technology, the emergence of disruptive technology, how they are going to play a decisive role like AI or IoT, machine learning, quantum physics and 3D printing, etc. So this NEP is a revolutionary in that sense. So this is by and large the evolutionary process of Indian education. Now coming to Bharatiya Gyan Parampara, you would see why do we need to have a separate, why this focus of Bharatiya Gyan Parampara? As I look at it, is because, I have had the opportunity to visit many of the countries of the world, and we have seen that most of these developed or those countries who are doing remarkably well, they have come up with a system of based on their tradition, based on their intricate capacity, based on their recent achievements. If you look at America, they call it US exceptionalism. If you look at even British, they are very much proud about their British conservatism, the way they speak, the way they preserve their traditional institution, including monarchy. Even if you look at Chinese, the way even Chinese had gone to the extent of, appropriating the appropriation of Indian religion, like Buddhism. So for Chinese, it is the Taoism, even Buddhism has been appropriated as a tool of foreign policy to, augment their diplomatic missions in Southeast Asia and other parts of the world. So whether even you're talking about Japanese, so what I'm trying to say is this, my dear friends, that throughout globally, we see each and every society is trying to structure their system on the basis of certain principles, on the basis of certain legacy. Even British, I mean, in America calls that, if you look at the books of End of Ideology, Daniel Gould, Francis Fukuyama, you'll see they argue that the world system has kept on evolving and finally it has ended, whether it is liberty, equality, freedom, justice, it has ended up in American civilization. So there is this kind of a situation where every countries try to focus on their continuity, their achievements, etc. Likewise, when I talk about Bharatiya Gyan Parampara, there's also something that we are trying to eulogize it without having its merit. No, Indian knowledge system is something which is now has become the focus of attention for the whole world. Why is it? Because Bharatiya Gyan Parampara is not an imperialistic design. Bharatiya Gyan Parampara is always based on civilizational ethos. Why I'm telling you? Because if you go to Southeast Asia, if you go to Thailand, if you go to Laos, Myanmar, Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia, you'll see how the Indian civilization has been expanding from generations to generations. And the purpose here was not necessarily primarily to subjugate those countries. Our civilizational axis was to go for empowerment, a sense of illumination of those countries, whether it is Buddhism or Hinduism. You will see the greatest Hindu temple, Angkor Wat, not in India but in Cambodia. Then other Borobudur and Buddhist traits, you will find it in galore in Southeast Asian nations, Indonesia, Malaysia, although they are Islamic countries, but their cultural traits, cultural ethos is deeply ingrained in Indian civilization. So, my dear friends, the point I am trying to suggest is this, that we have a long saga of Bharatiya Gyan Parampara, which has encompassed not only our own Bharatiya, system, but also it has tried to encompass the whole world to a great extent. And when we talk about Bharatiya Gyan Parampara, we have to look into the three aspects. One is the Indian, that is Bharatiya. The one is, knowledge. The third is a system. So when we call it Bharatiya, as I have borrowed it from a scholar, it has got two connotations. One is called the geographical connotation of Bharatiya, and the second is demographic component of Bharatiya. What is this geographical component? The geographical component is not the what we have today, and it is actually can be traced back to the geography that encompass not only the present disposition, but it goes up to those periods, or I mean up to maybe Afghanistan, even to Iran, Iraq. We had civilizational linkages. Well, this way Myanmar, so even to Southeast Asia. So I'm not arguing for bringing them back. What I'm trying to say is that that was the cultural geographical connotation of Bharatiya Gyan Parampara that used to expand to the nook and corner that I have just now talked about. So on the one hand, you have here a geographical connotation, and the secondly, you have a demographic connotation. Bharatiya is not necessarily someone who is Indian or holding the Indian passport, but whose ethos, whose ideology is deeply ingrained, deeply embedded into the Bharatiya Parampara. That is a kind of a Bharatiya person. And of course, knowledge, as we look at it, is a combination of education, knowledge, and wisdom. When we look at uh, knowledge of Indian system, it is a combination of three things. One is called education, one is called knowledge, one is called wisdom. They are not necessarily separate to each other, but they are deeply connected. Well, I do not have time to elaborate them. But suffice to say, my dear friends, this Indian knowledge system is overall the overarching framework that we are talking about. And this Bharatiya Gyan Parampara, what is distinctiveness is that there is no disruption in spite of so many decades, so many colonial attempt, interrogative attempt to subjugate Bharatiya people or Indian civilization, whether it is by Islamic uh, penetration or by the British penetration or even by the other invaders. But still, all these attacks notwithstanding, we have a civilization continuity for about 3000 plus years. This uninterrupted civilizational continuity provides us a unique identity. So this Bharat is not something that we have got it suddenly, that we have got it with Indian constitution. Yes, Indian constitution is the foundation of this Indian nation state, but this Indianness Bharat Parampara goes back to what our Vishnu Puran says, Uttarasya Samudrasya Himadrasya Dakshinam Varsam Tat Bharatam Namam Bharati Yatra Santati. It means that Uttarasya Samudrasya, in the Uttar part of ocean, Himadrasya Dakshinam, in the southern part of Himalaya, Varsam Tat Bharatam Namam, there is a land space called Bharat. Bharati Yatra Santati, and the persons who live here are known as Bharati. So this reference could be seen in Vishnu Puran. So there is a continuity of this knowledge parampara for a long, long time. Well, I do not want to continue because there is a time limit. So what I'm trying to say is that this Bharatiya Gyan Parampara is not just one discipline specific. This is a generic concept which will be applicable to, subject wise. They are discipline specific concept because you will find it in Indian culture, ethno-tribal culture, Indian diversity and Indian unity, medicine, mathematics, philosophy, linguistics, agriculture, astronomy, so on and so forth. And remember, my dear friends, let us not confuse Bharatiya Gyan Parampara Indian knowledge system only with the Vedic system. So there are two concepts. One is from the top, one is from the bottom. The top is, of course, you have the Vedantic system or the philosophical system that has been evolving from generation, from thousands of years. But from below, look at Northeast India today. Northeast India is having more than 270 ethnic groups. We have more than 185 languages. So in spite of so many languages, it is said that Assam is the last point where India looks less and less India, more and more Southeast Asia. So otherwise, if you look at there are some scholars who try to argue that there are many Northeast India. There are many Assams. In fact, recently a book has come which tries to say that there is not only single Assam, there are many Assams. But the fact is that there are more than 270 ethnic groups. If all these ethnic groups had attempted for secessionism, had attempted for separate country, this Northeast region alone would have got more than 250 ethnic states or nation state. But look at United Nations today, we do not have worldwide, not more than 100 and something odd nation states. So in spite of so many diversity, there is the underlying unity. There's something, we have immense diversity of languages, but in spite of that, there is something holding them together. That is called Bharatiya Bhut. So let me conclude by saying that ये जो भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा, this is not a one department. There will be specifics in botany, physics, chemistry, astronomy, agriculture, political science, history, linguistics. Our purpose is to find out how to trace out those tenets of Bharatiya Gyan Parampara and accommodate it to our present discipline, to our present subjects. That will be a big challenge that we need to incorporate because that distinctiveness would define our character. But suffice to say, let me conclude by saying that I'm not here eulogizing each and everything of Bharatiya Gyan Parampara. There's something to be accepted and something not to accept. We need to contextualize them with the passage of time, with the passage of modernity. But while modernity doesn't necessarily mean jettisoning your parampara, we need to have a solid foundation of our continuity of our legacy. That's what we need to incorporate. With these words, I conclude. Thank you. Namaskar. Jai Hind, Jai Assam.
Thank you, Honourable Vice Chancellor, for that inaugural address. Now, we will move on to the next session that is going to be the introduction of this FDP. This is going to be done by Dr. Mendes Jacob, who is a professor and director, MCF, Marian College, Kuttikanam Autonomous, and he's also the MD and CEO of IPSR Solutions Limited. Dr. Mendes Jacob is an academician and an entrepreneur with 35 plus years of experience and is the former director of School of Applicable Mathematics in G University. He's a PhD in operations research and has to his credit a number of national and international publications and guided PhD students in mathematics and computer science. He is also the CEO of IPSR Solutions Limited, an IT company supporting higher education institutions in the implementation of OBE and innovative teaching, learning, and assessment strategies. He is part of the team which has trained more than 50,000 faculty members pan-India. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Sujin. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Most respected Honourable Vice Chancellor, Professor Nani Gopal Mahanta, Professor Babin Gandhi, the Director of MMTTC, Gauhati University, Professor Saharia, Director IQAC, Professor Kumaresh Sharma, resource person of today, Professor Muralivallabhan, Director of MIM and the Center of Sustainable Development and at Marian College, Kuttikanam. All my respected faculty members, colleagues, joined from all over India, from different universities and higher educations. Thank you for joining this program and welcome to this 7-day FDP on IKS, jointly organized by Gauhati University and IPSR Solutions Limited. We had an excellent introduction of IKS by the Honourable Vice Chancellor. So I will be here to just give you some ideas, some tips, how to connect this IKS with accreditation and how to connect it with OBE. Then how the FDP will be progressing for the next 7 days. Some tips and tricks about the program. I will share my screen, just 1 minute. My screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
I have a few slides just about this FDP and how we can connect IKS with, as I mentioned earlier, with the NAC accreditation or NB accreditation, or how we can connect with outcomes, etc. We have a very eminent resource persons with us. Starting from today, we will have sessions. Now, as a faculty, maybe we have some questions in our mind. Why IKS now? Are we only teaching content or shaping civilizational thinkers? Or another question like, are our graduates globally competent but locally disconnected? Or are we aligning with NEP 2020 in spirit or only in documentation? Because NEP 2020 clearly mandates integration of IKS across all disciplines. And this is not just an optional requirement, actually, it is structural reform. So IKS is not nostalgia, it is knowledge continuity. It's a continuity of the past knowledge into the present knowledge. Sorry. Now, what is IKS? I hope all of you have some understanding about IKS. And our Vice Chancellor or Vice Chancellor was given a beautiful introduction. Now, it is actually a structured, validated, and historically evolved knowledge traditions of India across various disciplines. Like you can have mathematics or astronomy, or linguistics or ecology, metallurgy, architecture, governance, education models, medicine. Everywhere we can integrate IKS because we have the medicinal branch Ayurveda well flourished in India. We have the Gurukula pedagogy, or for mathematics, we have Vedic mathematics. Then Arthashastra is there for governance. And we have the architectural structures like even our ancient temples, beautiful architectural structures we have. So we can combine all this knowledge with the different disciplines and design our own curriculum based on the IKS. So IKS is interdisciplinary, contextual, and application-driven. It emphasizes holistic learning, ethical grounding, sustainability, community relevance, value integration, and we can align all these with the OB principles. We can connect with the program outcomes. For example, all these things comes in our program outcomes. These are all connected with the graduate attributes. Today we have a section on sustainability, how we can connect sustainability with IKS. Then coming to the IKS and NEP 2020 alignment. NEP 2020 explicitly recommends integrating IKS into the curriculum, multidisciplinary learning, value-based education, experiential and research-driven pedagogy, local knowledge documentation. And as an institution, as a higher education institution, we can demonstrate curriculum relevance, contextual pedagogy, cultural grounding, interdisciplinary innovation, everything with the NEP 2020 recommendations. And we'll have sections on the research topics in IKS, the project ideas in IKS, many things in the coming days. And how IKS and outcome-based education can be integrated. IKS naturally supports higher order outcomes like program outcomes or program specific outcomes. The OB domain, we have the knowledge, skill, ethics, sustainability, critical thinking, research. So knowledge, historical and conceptual foundations, we can connect it with the knowledge. Applied indigenous problem solving, we can connect with the skill. Thermo-based decision frameworks, we can connect with ethics. Ecological harmony models, we can connect with the sustainability. Then we have the comparative civilizational analysis for critical thinking, traditional knowledge validation for research. IKS enhances PSOs, program-specific outcomes in the way of value-added courses, skill-based courses, research orientation, capstone projects with a local relevance. So instead of abstract case studies from foreign context, students analyze Indian knowledge models and reinterpret them in modern domains. And this is actually the authentic OB alignment. IKS and NAC accreditation, if you connect with accreditation, if you go with the old manual, because the new manual is yet to be finalized. In the old manual, NAC accreditation manual, we have the criteria 1, curricular aspects are there. Curriculum enrichment through IKS modules, you can integrate IKS modules into the curriculum, value-added courses, multidisciplinary integration is possible. And in criteria 2, teaching and learning, experiential learning models can be implemented, contextual pedagogy, local knowledge documentation is possible. We can ask the students to document some local knowledge or not knowledge areas. See, for example, the indigenous knowledge about medicines possessed by some tribals, maybe Adivasis. So all these things can be documented so that the students will learn more about it. In criteria 3, research and extension, we have indigenous knowledge research, documentation projects, community knowledge systems. And definitely during this FDP program, our resource persons will be delivering on these different research topics, research areas you can look into. And in the criteria 7, institutional values and best practices, we can include heritage preservation, ethical frameworks, sustainability practices. So if structured properly, IKS can be documented as best practice. We can have add-on course, interdisciplinary modules, research cluster, outreach activity. So that directly improves accreditation narratives. And IKS and NBA for engineering education or MBA or business education, we have an NBA accreditation. So here also IKS supports engineering ethics, sustainable design, indigenous innovation, systems thinking, and which can be mapped with the different POs like ethics, sustainability, environment, lifelong learning, societal impact. So IKS strengthens attainment evidence when integrated into projects, seminars, or design assignments. So especially with your continuous assessments or projects, you can have on different topics of IKS. Now, how to start? We can have foundation IKS modules. So 1 to 2 credits we can include. Department specific IKS mapping can be done for different disciplines. We can analyze the IKS modules, faculty development programs, student mini projects on local knowledge. That is also very important. Documentation of traditional practices, integration into capstone themes, annual IKS lecture series we can conduct. No, IKS is not about going backward. It is about rootedness with relevance, heritage with innovation, identity with the global competence. Institutions that integrate IKS thoughtfully will demonstrate, academic maturity, civilizational confidence, stronger accreditation narratives, meaningful NEP compliance. And most importantly, students who are not just skilled, but grounded on the basics. Again, accreditation is not about scoring points. Maybe we have the manuals, then we have the scoring points, scoring sheets, everything is there. But it's about providing that education is meaningful. That is very important. IKS helps us make education meaningful. Coming to this FDP program, just go through how the program will be progressing from day one onwards. This is actually a 7 days live sessions, except on Sunday. Every day we have live sections from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. It's a 2-hour program. And recorded sessions are available through a learning management system. Anyway, this is for a flexible learning system. If you miss any of the live sessions, the recorded sessions will be available on the learning management system. And learning supports through LMS, as I mentioned earlier. Videos are available. Curated reference materials and academic resources are available in the LMS. Research directions, you will get some topics related to research on IKS, then project ideas on IKS. All these are added to the LMS. Continuous access for self-paced learning and revision. That is the most important part, because as faculty members, you will be busy with your daily routine tasks. So whenever you get time, you can go through this, the content, the videos, then the other materials, etc. Even after the completion of the FDP, maybe FDP will be over by 24th. Minimum, you will get it up to 31st of March, or maybe 1 or 2 days more. There is a daily engagement like MCQ-based assessment every day. You can complete it in your own time, your own pace. Reinforcement of concepts through continuous evaluation. This FDP is not just section-based learning. That's very important. It's a continuous learning ecosystem supported through LMS, ensuring flexibility, depth, and academic rigor. Again, we are following an OB approach. There will be a capstone academic task at the end of the FDP. You have to design a minimum of 2-credit course on Indian knowledge system, which can be integrated with your discipline, which focus on course outcomes, PO mapping, assessment strategies you can include, academic relevance also you can mention there as an introduction. And after submission of this capstone project, there will be a peer assessment. Again, other participants will be assessing your submitted task. That is by using a Moodle workshop tool. Probably if you are using Moodle, you know what it is. Every participant will get 3 or 4 assignments for assessment. Assignments means the submitted course. So the participants can review and evaluate peer design courses, learn from diverse academic approaches. That is the advantage. This is a collaborative approach. Engage in structured academic feedback. Again, FDP follows a strong outcome-based framework. Its emphasis on active learning, collaborative knowledge creation, practical academic application. The FDP moves beyond passive listening. Participants will create, evaluate, and refine academic content, making it directly applicable to your institutions. So that's about this FDP. And we have a learning management system that will be provided to your through your mail IDs. You'll get it. Otherwise, I will just show you how it works. Just 1 minute.
Please allow me to, I have to attend another program. It was wonderful listening to you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So this is the learning management system. You'll get all the content and everything. Each day's video will be uploaded there. You will get about the introduction about the FDP announcements, everything. Then there is a pre-FDP assessment. It's only an MCQ. You can just go through that. There are several articles available. Articles by our persons uploaded there in the LMS, so that you can go through this. So every day the video will be uploaded. There will be an MCQ. As I mentioned here, a lot of reference materials are available. So this is about the FDP. You will get all this login ID, password, and everything through your mail ID. So for those who have registered for this LMS, you will get the login. So once again, thank you, the esteemed Professors, Vice Chancellor and Professors from Gauhati University for collaborating with us. Thank you all my faculty colleagues who have joined from different states and different universities. Once again, we expect that this will be a good experience, learning experience for all of you. My colleague, Professor Muralivallabhan, will be handling the next section. So thank you once again. Good night. Bye.
Thank you, Mentor sir. Thank you for the introduction of the FDP. Now we will have the word of thanks, and then we will go to the last final session, the FDP session, with the topic of IKS and NEP 2020 for a sustainable world. So we will have first the word of thanks, then we will have the FDP session. All right. Okay. So the word of thanks is going to be delivered by Dr. Kumaresh Sharma, Assistant Professor, Department of Electronics and Communication Technology, Gauhati University, Assam, and he's also the FDP coordinator. Over to you, Kumaresh. You're on mute. You need to unmute. So. You're still on mute.
Still, you are not audible, Dr. Kumaresh.
Yeah, you're still showing mute. Are you able to?
Yeah. Now I can unmute myself. Sorry, sir. So there was a technical glitch was there. So thank you for welcome. I'd like to welcome all the participants. So respected Honourable Vice Chancellor sir and distinguished speaker, esteemed faculty members and dear participants. So it is my great privilege to propose the vote of thanks on this auspicious occasion of the inaugural session of National Level Faculty Development Program on Indian Knowledge Systems, jointly organized by UGC, MMTTC, Gauhati University, and Internal Quality Assurance Cells, Gauhati University, in association with IPSR Solutions Limited. I express my deepest gratitude to our Honourable Vice Chancellor, Professor Nani Gopal Mahanta sir, for his gracious presence and for delivering the inspirational inaugural address. Your words have truly set the tone for this FDP and the motivation to all the participants with meaningful theme. I extended my sincere thanks to Professor Bhoventati sir and to Professor Subhojyoti sir, for his warm welcome address and for his constant support in making this program possible. I would also like to thank Dr. Matthews Jacob sir for his insightful introduction to the FDP and for his valuable association in organizing this program. Thank you, sir, from the Gauhati University side. My heartful appreciations goes to the distinguished speaker, sir, the next speaker, sir, Dr. T.V. Muralivallabhan, sir, for sharing the valuable knowledge, starting the first session of this particular FDP. Thank you, sir, and welcome from the Gauhati University side. I would also like to acknowledge Jacob George, sir, for efficiently moderating today's session. I extend my sincere thanks to the IPSR Solutions Limited for their collaboration and technical support, and to all the organizing members, faculty and staff whose dedicated effort have ensured the smooth conduct of this particular program. Finally, I express my gratitude to all the participants across all over the India, including all the 7 northeastern states, and around 1,800 participants are there. So from the platform of Gauhati University, I like to welcome and to all the 1,800 participants to this particular meaningful and insightful program that will be organizing and that will be enlightening your futures in the field of Indian knowledge systems, and your presence and active engagement will make us proud and make this particular FDP a great success for all the nations. With this, I like to conclude my vote of thanks. I wish everything fruitful to everyone to be a fruitful FDP ahead. Thank you to all.
Thank you, Dr. Kumar Sharma, for the word of thanks. Now we will actually move on to the FDP session for today. The topic which is going to be IKS in NEP 2020 for a sustainable world. This is going to be delivered by Dr. T.V. Muralivallabhan, Director, Center for Sustainable Development and Marian Institute of Management, Marian College, Kuttikanam, Autonomous. Dr. T.V. Muralivallabhan is an eminent academician and international resource person specializing in sustainable development, environmental education, eco-spirituality, and CSR. With over 40 years of teaching experience, he holds MA degrees in economics and political science and a PhD in green policies. A recipient of the St. Berkman's Award 2010, he currently serves as the director at Marian Institute of Management and Marian College, Kuttikanam, and has presented over 300 research papers. He is a well-known resource person on IKS and sustainability and delivered sessions in various national level seminars and workshops. Over to you, sir. Yeah, you need to unmute, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. And at the same time, I welcome the Pan-India participants in this FDP program. Now, when I say good evening to all, I should also remark that my evening was not good since nature has showered its fury on our parts in the form of a heavy downpour. And so I had to shift my venue to my brother-in-law's house, and it's from there that I am trying to present my what you call the PowerPoint presentation, to make the PowerPoint presentation. Okay, we all know that man proposes and God disposes, and today God has disposed a heavy downpour. And anyway, hope for the best. I heard Honourable Vice Chancellor's words. He has elaborated the introductory part, and also my friend Dr. Mendes has beautifully raised the relevance of Indian knowledge system in the present context. And now my presentation will be based on NEP, IKS, and sustainability. 3 areas are there. Shall I put the presentation? Share it. Is it visible?
Yeah, it's loading. Yeah, fine. It's visible.
Okay.
I think out of the third page,
Yeah.
it's showing prelude.
Yeah, showing prelude because maybe due to the paucity of time, I am skipping some of
Okay.
the slides. That's why.
Okay.
There is a famous saying by T.S. Eliot: "Where is the wisdom which is lost in knowledge, and where is the knowledge which is lost in information?" Friends, we are living in a world filled with information, scattered with knowledge, and only sprinkled here and there with wisdom. And alas, enlightenment is already eclipsed from the world. That is what we feel now, seeing the events that are taking place around the world. And here, the important thing is that the root cause of all these bad events are that the man-nature relationship has widened. And without nature, there is no humanity and development. That's the first thing we have to remember. So what is the objective and outcome of this presentation? Let me say that understanding the role of human beings in the web of relations. The web of relations means there is strong interconnection and interrelationship existing in the world. When we are aiming at the physical growth, it's not enough. Physical growth and mental growth are essential. Then we call it as development. When physical growth, mental development, along with social and economic development are taken together, we say it is prosperity. And progress needs much more. There should be physical growth, mental development, social and economic development, plus spiritual development as well. Then only we can call it as progress, because the spiritual element also indicates the values associated with each and every action that we perform. So from information, we have to reach the level of knowledge, and from the level of knowledge, we have to reach the level of wisdom, which is much higher. And also, if possible, reach the level of enlightenment for attaining sustainability. Becoming truth seekers, that is the outcome we expect out of an IKS class. We should become truth seekers, unbiased thinkers, and holistic visionaries and multidisciplinary researchers. That is what is expected out of the class on IKS. Now, there is a very interesting comparison. When we speak of human beings, we always boast that we are at the zenith of the evolution. We have enough intelligence and many other things. But in many aspects, we are far behind the animals. For example, in the world of Indriyas, seeing, hearing, smelling, touching, and these are considered as the primary sources of information, but they provide only partial knowledge. And in many of these sensory abilities, we find that animals are better than human beings. For example, in size and shape, the blue whale and elephants. In height, the giraffe, which is about 15 to 18 feet high. Whereas a human being is on an average from 5.5 to 6 or 6.5 feet. A cheetah can run 75 miles per hour or 120 kilometers, but the champion in marathon is about to run only at 40 kilometers per hour. A dog has more olfactory capacity, about 40 times more than that of the human beings. The night vision capacity of an owl is much, much higher than that of the human being. It is 3 to 4 times. It has 3 to 4 times clearer vision than the human beings. And the human cannot naturally see the ultraviolet light. But honeybees can see that. And the bacteria, there are 15 uses inside the body and outside environment as natural scavengers, nutrition providers, etc., which human beings cannot perform. The viruses, 10 kinds of viruses help human survival by becoming human body's microbiome. And fungi also performs as nutrient cycling, carbon cycling, and climate regulation. All these are performed by the microorganisms, which is not at all possible from the part of human beings. We have to depend on these microorganisms for these functions. And if honeybees are not there, the entire agriculture system would collapse within a few years. And in this world, the plant biomass consists of 82%. Bacteria consists of 13% of the biomass, animals 0.4%, and humans constitute only 0.1%. Why I cited all these examples is because in physical terms, human beings are the least significant creatures on this planet. And the most important finding is that even if all humans are exterminated from this planet, nothing is going to happen to Mother Earth. We are the most dependent creatures on this planet, but we claim as the most independent creatures. Now, the second part deals with the superiority, the so-called claimed superiority of human beings in terms of intelligence. Let us see what is the fruit of this intelligence. Our intelligent activities have resulted in climate change, in global warming, in loss of soil, in both in quality and quantity, and as a result, recurring tornadoes, heat waves in one part, freezing cold in another part, and even in the Middle East countries, now we hear about torrential rains and floods. This erratic behavior is anthropocentric and anthropogenic. That is what scientists say. It's caused to a very great extent by the human actions. So the information of these conditions are the results of what we have gained in the form of knowledge and what we have to gain in terms of wisdom. 6% of insects, 8% of plants, 4% of vertebrates will be lost if the temperature increases to 1.5 degrees Celsius. And also we find that there are many other consequences as well. And the human intelligence has invented many of the modern technological equipments or technological tools. For example, the sanitary napkins of 1920s were used first for the wounded soldiers in wars. We have to remember that almost all these inventions were primarily for war purposes, and even now they are being used. From the sanitary napkins of 1920s to radar and walkie-talkies of 1930s, night vision equipment, ballistic missiles, nuclear technology, and jet engine of 1940s, digital photography and internet of 1960s, satellite navigation and GPS of 1970s, and not to say AI and drones of the 21st century are very much used in Gaza war, in Ukraine war, and also now it is being widely used in the Iran, America, and Israel war. And these are all in its other part. You say, on the contrary, it is being used for civilian life also. But mainly they are invented and as well as they are being used for war purposes. And we find that, I will go to the next slide. According to the SIPRI, Stockholm International Peace Research Institute Yearbook 2025, released on 16th in July 2025, global military expenditure soared to about, I think it is 24 trillion. What is it? It's not. Anyway, it's a 9.4% rise from the previous year. the 10th straight annual increase. That means for the last 10 years, this budget has been increasing. The military expenditure budget has been on the increase. Defense spending now accounts for about 2.5%, and it has risen to 4.4% in conflict-hit states. And now, only 16 to 17% of the Sustainable Development Goals proclaimed by the United Nations have been attained so far. But for war, we are spending trillions and trillions of dollars, which we are going to see. Out of the 193 UN member states, 108 states are using increasing military power. 99.7% of the people in 163 countries are directly or indirectly suffering from the adversities of war. 108 countries of the world are facing threat to permanent peace. And when the global average per capita income is only between $1,300 or $1,200 and $300, the average per capita spending on wars is $2,400. This is given by the data collected by the Global Peace Index reports of 2025. And the amount spent for peace purposes is very negligible when compared with the amount spent for war. So this data strongly advocates that the attitude of human beings should be basically changed. Otherwise, the world won't be sustainable. And how scientifically foolish we are. Think, we spent billions of dollars to find life on other planets and trillions of dollars for killing the life on this one itself. Are we intelligent? Can we say that human beings are intelligent? Can we say that we are sustainable in our attempts? Can we say that we are letting the coming generations to have a peaceful life on this planet? These are the questions. And what is the root cause? Now, coming to the root cause, I can say that there are three approaches for the middle age science, or the 16th, 17th, and 18th century science. For details, you can refer Frijo-Capra's turning point, the turning point. They are known as the Baconian, Newtonian, and Cartesian paradigms. And prior to the emergence of this middle age scientific thought, the Mother Earth concept was there. Planet was considered, there was a motherhood concept of the planet. And that saved many of the resources of the planet. And the attitude was that of one of emotional attitude. Now, when Francis Bacon came, he adopted a new empirical method of scientific investigation. And in his view, nature had to be hounded in her wanderings, made a slave, and she was to be put in constraint. And the purpose of the scientist, the objective of the scientist, the aim of the scientist was to torture nature's secret from her. So from this very sentence, we find that man treated nature as an enemy. The beginning is this. Replaced the organic and ecocentric and divine concept of Mother Earth with anthropocentric attitude, with more importance given to human beings. And the Newton believed that he gave a picture of the machine, a large, perfect machine. He considered Mother Earth as a large, perfect machine. And what happens when a machine goes out of order? It could be either repaired or the parts could be replaced. And just like that, if Mother Earth's balance goes out of order, we can either repair it or replace it. But this is not possible since the knowledge of Mother Earth, the planet Earth, is not full. And it is said that there is a book known as 4% universe, where only 4% of the universe is known by human beings. And even now, a cubic a scientist has not yet counted. No scientist has yet counted how much microorganisms are in a cubic meter of soil. Then how can they replace the soil which is polluted? Then how can they replace the imbalances that are caused by climate change, global warming, ozone depletion, deforestation, desertification, etc.? That is very difficult. It is very difficult because nature has its own time machine and its own space machine, in the sense that changes are at the same time maybe local as well as global. It is known as glocal, very much interrelated, where human beings are not yet able to trace the interrelationship fully. Therefore, repairing and replacement have very limited scope in treating with nature. And Cartesian division means Descartes, who was a philosopher as well as mathematician, tried to find the truth by deductive method. Everything should be broken into pieces, fragmented approach. And this fragmented approach made one particular phenomenon to see in different parts, partial approach, and to find truth in the part. But it is not only material parts, but among the material parts, there are certain relations. And these relations cannot be quantified. And the difference in quantification of the relations and understanding of it correctly poses many questions and many doubts regarding man-nature relationship. So the analytical method of breaking up thoughts and problems into pieces and arranging these in their logical order, that is the reductionist approach, it resulted in the division of mind and matter. Mind is different from matter and man is different from nature. As a result of the above three paradigms, the concept of the planet Earth as a nurturing mother disappeared. Organic view was replaced by mechanistic model, and anthropocentric attitude was followed by anthropogenic problems, which resulted in climate change and global warming and the like. Now, this is only a diagrammatic representation of the former explanation which I have already given. And what is the solution for this? We are treating each subject separately, and we are only dealing with partial truth. And what is the solution? The solution is holistic vision and multidisciplinary approach to understand the truths. And here comes when we are holistic in our vision, and when we have multidisciplinary studies, sustainability is possible, blending modern science with traditional wisdom is possible. And also the goal of the present government, that is Vishwa Guru. How can India become a Vishwa Guru? Only by blending modern science with traditional wisdom, because traditional wisdom has some eternal values, whereas modern science contributes many of the conveniences to human life. And these are all definitions for holistic vision, which I am skipping. And the only thing that we have to remember is that the religious values and practices are deeply entwined in our daily lives, and the leaders of churches, mosques, temples, religious communities, they also play an important role, and their opinions and behaviors for management and use of natural resources are very much essential, since we follow a holistic approach to development. We cannot segregate, we cannot separate, we cannot keep apart any of the branches of knowledge. It's an integration of all encompassing or all encompassing knowledge. And why holistic approach is necessary? It has been supported by United Nations and the heads of FAO, UNEP, WHO, and many international organizations have already supported the holistic approach for attaining sustainability, in which right from religion to physical sciences, everything comes under the umbrella of the sustainable development. and the need for holistic vision, again, it is underlined. Now, what is multidisciplinary approach? Why is it needed? Because physicists or nuclear scientists may be very good at describing and manufacturing an atom bomb, but they are not able to find the root cause of the poverty that exists in the world. That is not their area. But perhaps an expert in international economics or politics, even if philosophy and psychology, may be able to answer the question, what is the cause of poverty? But economists cannot explain why Himalayan glaciers are receding every year between 18 to 20 meters. But glaciologists are able to explain that. There, glaciologists are unable to explain how much is the loss of production and why diminishing marginal utility operates in consumption. Economists and psychologists are able to explain. So that means that no discipline is complete in itself to answer the questions arising out of even that discipline. This is very important. No discipline is complete in itself. Every discipline seeks to trace the truth in its own way. And that's why we need a reductionist approach. And a reductionist approach is partial. And partial truth is not enough to explain the phenomena. There, we say that we came with inter and multidisciplinary studies, for example, biophysics, biochemistry, biostatistics, bioinformatics, mathematical economics or econometrics, food engineering, neuroscience, psephology, environmental studies. And to our astonishment, when we go through the environmental studies, we say that almost all branches of knowledge are rallying under the umbrella of environmental sciences. There is eco-technology, there is eco-politics, there is environmental law, there is eco-theology, there is ecosophy, there is ecology plus philosophy, and even eco-literature. And the new education policy also supports this multidisciplinary and holistic vision in research. For example, the fundamental principle of NEP is multidisciplinary education and catalyzing quality academic research in all fields through National Research Foundation, promoting multidisciplinary nature in higher education institutions and emphasizing on holistic education. And also we find that coordination through higher education institutes at all levels by the UGC for attaining multidisciplinary studies nowadays. And that multidisciplinary study is based on the holistic vision, considering the components of everything in total, that is holistic vision. And the holistic and multidisciplinary education wants to develop all capacities of human beings, the physical, intellectual, emotional, aesthetic, moral, spiritual, and social. And in this attempt, we say that even religions cannot be set aside, because the world leaders of 9 religions assembled in February 1998 to discuss about spirituality and economic development, and under the leadership of the Archbishop of Canterbury. The World Bank president, not only the bishop, but the World Bank president, who is an economist, we know that, Wolfgang Sohn, in 1998 called for intermission of spiritual and economic concerns in the World Religious Conference. And as a result, now we hear about Eco-Islam, Green Churches movement, and also Green Hinduism, Green Buddhism. And as a result, in environmental protection, how religious rituals, belief system, and institutions can play a part is the concern of ecologists and environmental scientists nowadays. Now, as we need a holistic vision and a multidisciplinary approach, now we are connecting it with sustainable development. Sustainable development is given importance in the National Education Policy 2020. And also, we find that it has been a very important part of the Sustainable Development Goals or the Agenda of Development 2030. And here we can say that based on the stipulations made by the Sustainable Development Goal number 4, the National Education Policy 2020 also adopted sustainability as one of the important components and objectives of the policy. And why we need sustainability? Because we should remember that the Earth has a lithosphere of 100 kilometers thickness, which is fertile soil. And that's only of this 100 kilometers thickness, we find that of which fertile soil is only a few meters. Hydrosphere, water 10 kilometers up as water vapor maybe, and down in ocean as 10 kilometers. And also we say that means 10 to 20 kilometers of thickness contains only water content. And also that constitute the biosphere. And whatever be the constitution of this planet, the most important thing that we have to remember is that there is a carrying capacity of the planet. Just like for a vehicle, for an aeroplane, or for a ship, or for a bus or a car, there is a carrying capacity. The Mother Earth also has a carrying capacity, and we are not expected to cross this carrying capacity. And the most important thing is that human beings are the only living beings that trespass the limits put by the carrying capacity of the planet. And one study says that the environmental impact assessment, the Household Consumption Journal of Industrial Ecology, made a study and found that it needs 1.7 Earths to meet the current human demands. The world's richest 1% are responsible for twice as many emissions as the poorest 50% takes. So we have to curtail our consumption, and a climate-friendly consumption is to be attained if we have to survive and sustain this planet. And there are many reports. One UN report states that water is a source of life, not resource. And then it is as a result of all these findings that were made earlier to 1990 that the World Commission on Environment and Development was appointed in 1983. In 1987, as we all know, they submitted their report, and it is in this report that the concept of sustainable development comes, and many of you might have gone across the definition of sustainable development, the development that meets the needs of the present generation without compromising the ability to meet the needs of the future generations. So we have to take into account that the resources that we consume are not inherited from our forefathers, but these resources are borrowed from the coming generations. We are indebted to them. And we have to remember other implications also of sustainable development, that nature is our common property. We have no right to encroach upon nature. We have already seen this. It's also the home of other living beings. There is an interrelationship and interdependence existing on this planet. Human beings have no monopoly or special rights, and it is human greed that destroys nature. It is not human need. That's why Gandhiji said, the world has got enough resources to satisfy everybody's need, but not nobody's greed. So need is more important than greed. And that's why the 17 goals of sustainable development were framed in the Development Agenda 2030. And it is these goals It is for these goals that the UN was spending a lot of amount, but so far only 16 to 17% of the goals were attained. Because one reason was the corona pandemic, and the other reason is the amount that we are spending to fight wars. Then the triple bottom line of sustainability. This is not only of business sustainability is also included. We should have profit sustainability, means economic sustainability, environmental sustainability, and social sustainability. These three sustainabilities are essential. People sustainability, or in other words, the society should exist, the planet as such should exist, and industries for profit also should exist. Then the holistic sustainability concept will be practical in future. And in this sustainable development, what's the role of Indian wisdom over environment? That's very important. Here comes the relevance of Indian knowledge system. Now, let us see that why we should go in search of Indian knowledge system. Why we should go in search of Indian knowledge system? Because the United Nations Development Program and United Nations Environment Program have their special programs on traditional knowledge initiatives. You can refer from the reference which I have given. They call it as traditional knowledge initiatives. What are these traditional knowledge initiatives? They are the awareness of the value of traditional knowledge, innovative practices of indigenous and local communities. And it's for the contribution to sustainable development and poverty alleviation. These are very important because they have identified many characteristic features of this traditional wisdom. And the UN wants to learn the wisdom of traditional knowledge initiatives that is spread in various places through universities, UN agencies, and indigenous networks and other institutions at a global level. And they have themselves, at the global level itself, there is the recognition of the traditional knowledge initiative. Then more than that, the ILO report says that the indigenous people and their traditional knowledge and occupations, or in other words, the wisdom of the indigenous people, have a unique role to play in climate action. And the International Panel on Climate Change, in its latest report, totally defends and demands the indigenous lifestyle, knowledge systems, and method of governance for attainment of sustainable development. Here comes the point. Many people argue that it is the selfish interest or the motive of the present Indian government that we should trace the Indian knowledge system. No. It's from the ILO report, it's from the UNDP report, it is from the UNEP studies, it is from the IPCC report that the global scientists are demanding for a total reorientation of the present development projects. The present development projects should contain elements from indigenous lifestyle and knowledge systems. And that is why in the new education policy also, the UGC added the Indian knowledge system. And the Indian knowledge system has to, as we say that it is the indigenous knowledge generated in the Indian subcontinent or Bharata, Akhanda Bharata, disseminated through literary and non-literary, means from about 3000 BC to 500 Common Era. It is available in the introduction to IPS, that book. The principles and values disseminated by the IKS for sustainability are very much appreciated by international agencies as well. And for example, in the NEP itself, the para 4.27 of NEP refers to traditional knowledge system of India and sustainable and support. It is sustainable and supporting for the welfare of all, ACT. And in order to become the knowledge power of the century, it should be understood that our heritage can teach a lot to the world, the Indian way, through yoga, Ayurveda, and environmental wisdom. Sacred groves are the very living examples of the Indian knowledge system, how the hydrology or the water levels of a particular plot of land is kept alive. And the Indian knowledge system, as already remarked by the introductory speakers, cosmology, mathematics, astronomy, etc. And what I say is that from Garbhopanishads, there is an Upanishad known as the Garbhopanishads, and it deals with the growth of the embryo from a single cell, how it grows to the full-fledged person. So it deals with the embryology, Garbhopanishads, and whereas the Subalopanishads deals with the cosmology. So from the micro point of view, from the microcosm to the macrocosm, there is the literature on in Indian knowledge system. That's what we have to remember. And Kautilya, for example, divided this Indian knowledge system as Vidya, Vivekam, and Vichakshanada. Vichakshanada is skills set to get proper results of the objectives of life. Vivekam is wisdom, and Vidya is creation of new knowledge. And IKS has got certain universal vision. That's why it is universally accepted. It can be universally accepted. When we say the Vishwa Guru concept, our principle should be applicable for the whole Vishwa, for the whole cosmos. Let us see Vasudhaiva Kudumbaga. The whole world is one family. It is because we don't feel that we belong to one family that these wars are breaking out in our minds. The mindset is not properly nurtured and nourished through ideas. That's why wars always break out between countries. And also we say that Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam. There is divinity everywhere. There is no religious discrimination. There is no political difference. There is divinity everywhere. Isha Vasyam Idam Sarvam. The first sentence, the first sloga of the Ishavasya Upanishads. And Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Let all people enjoy happiness. And these are the holistic vision that we find in the seeds of Indian culture. And when we speak of IKS and environmental sustainability, a believer or one who has faith in Indian system should get up early morning by saying this sloga, Vishnu Pakni Namastubhyam Padasparsham Chamaswame. O Vishnu Pakni, Mother Earth is considered as the wife of Vishnu, God Vishnu. So, I am giving my offerings to you by touching your feet, because pardon me for placing my foot on you. This is the kind of respect that we give to our Mother Earth. Somebody is asking to annotate, but we will discuss it in detail. If I am speeding up because of the paucity of time, and during discussions we can always do that. Okay, the Devada concept: air, water, soil, forest, rivers, mountains. Vayu Devada, Jala Devada, Bhumi Devi, and Vana Devada, and mountains, and sea, Samudra Devada. And the worship of animals are as Deva or Vahana, vehicles and associates. You see monkey, elephant, lion, peacock, snake, mouse, etc. All these living beings, animals, were worshipped And it is through worship that the biodiversity was kept. We didn't kill these animals unnecessarily. And the worship of plants as banyan tree, tulsi, and there was also a book known as the Vrikshayurveda. Every plant on this planet is useful. The rishis of the Vrikshayurveda used to say, every plant will have one use or another use for our life. And worship of forests as Mahavanam, Tapovanam, Srivanam. These were all the religious basics of the Indian subcontinent through environmental wisdom given by this great land. And also we find that the IKS and environmental sustainability, the Panchabhutas and 5 elements are now recognized by people all over the world. They are known as Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Jalam, and Bhumi. The space, the air, the energy or the temperature, then water, and the earth. And the Panchabhata concept. These are all the belief system that protected the sustainability of the environment, and through protecting the sustainability of the environment, the social sustainability and the agricultural sustainability or industrial sustainability also were assured. So Deha Mother, the biological mother, the Gop Mother, the cow mother in the sense that cow was very much associated with the human life then. Cow and bull were the indicators of wealth during those days because they were very much useful for agriculture. Then the Bhumada means all the resources are coming from the planet. And the Jagat Mada, including the planet, Jagat Mada or Prapanch Mada, including the planet, we are all existing on this universe or in this universe. Then for social sustainability, we had many prayers and many belief systems to unite the people together. For example, the Aigamatya Sukta of the Rig Veda, Samgachatvam, Samvadatvam, we are all one. We should think with one mind. We should march ahead with similar steps like that. Then prayers, material prosperity, Shreyas, spiritual progress, and the Shreyas deals with the ethics and values. The Dharma, Artha, Kama, and Moksha as Purusharthas. The Kaudilya's Artha Shastra in economics, politics, and governance, and Nidhi Shastra. Also epics, Ramayana and Mahabharata, Puranas. All these literature, pieces of literature, always gave the people the values of life. And without values, there is no sustainability, we know. And also, how should we acquire wealth? Om Shatahasta Samahara, Sahasrahasta Samkira. That means with 100 hands, we accumulate wealth, and also we distribute it with 1,000 hands. That shows the generosity that should be with a person who is accumulating wealth. And the charity is also indicated through these slogas. And acquire with 100 hands and distribute with 1,000 hands, and let prosperity flourish there. And one of the very interesting slogas that we found as the principle of the Raghuvamsha kings in Kalidasa's Raghuvamsha, we find that the tax, how it is described, sun takes water from the sea and distribute it as rain to the other places as well. So from the person where there is immense wealth, a true king should take part of that wealth and distribute it where there is scarcity of wealth. Just like the sun takes the water and evaporates that and distributes that water drops into places where there is scanty rains or where drought is affected. This was the principle of the taxation. It was a progressive rate of taxation according to the modern terms. Then I'm just showing you the subjects, the authors, and the contributions of these authors in the form of the books: chemistry, technology, architecture, warfare, then Vrikshayurveda, then again chemistry. There was Nagarjunan, Prindan, and the like. So many people have contributed to this branch of knowledge. Veterinary sciences, there was contribution by Gauthaman and Shalihotran. Then we find that Ayurveda, the Dhanvantari, Bharadwaja, Kashyapa, Vagbhadan, etc., and others, not etc., and others have contributed very much. And also almost all the modern surgery was there, pediatrics was there, toxicology was there, geriatrics was there, rejuvenation was there, psychiatry was there. And psychiatry was known as Bhuta Tantra. And there are many texts even now available. And one tragedy is that many of the ancient texts were carried away by those who have those who have occupied this land to the Western countries. And that is why we are regaining, or we are getting it back. For example, many jewels we are getting back. Just like that, it's high time to get back our lost literature in this subject also. Then only Indian knowledge system can reach a full-fledged level. Then astronomy and mathematics, we had contribution. And in this particular thing, it is IKS in practice, the holistic vision, where the total knowledge, it's not knowledge, it is Vidya. Vidya is not knowledge. Vidya is more than that. There are two types in Indian knowledge system. One is the Aparavidya, and the second is the Paravidya. Aparavidya is material knowledge, and Paravidya is spiritual knowledge. In Aparavidya, we have the 4 ashramas and the like, and what we analyze and what we find from the life of human beings in India is that during the first 2 stages of brahmacharya and garhastya, you know that the up to the teenage, 20-21 age, we call it as brahmacharya. Brahmacharya is the period of the lifespan of an individual where that individual seeks knowledge. It is the educational time. And Garhastya is after having completed the education, he enters into the real life, doing his duty to himself, his family, and to the society. And when we analyze the lifestyle of a brahmachari, we find that that lifestyle was simple, sustainable lifestyle. Just like the Garhastya, it was a moderate lifestyle, satisfying the needs of the individual and family system, and also of the community. And brahmachari had to live a very, very austere life, very simple life. Now, out of the 4 stages of the life, brahmachari and garhastya or grahastha, then comes the vanaprastha, a retirement stage. And the retirement stage also advocated a simple and sustainable lifestyle. And after the retirement lifestyle, you see seeking the truth, contemplating about the truth of nature, the sannyasa. The sannyasa had to live a very sustainable lifestyle, very simple lifestyle. So all through the life stages, what Indian knowledge system taught the individuals is that they should have a simple and sustainable lifestyle. It is here that Indian knowledge system is blended with the sustainability concept of modern period. Now, the NEP policy and IKS IKS is one of the foundational principles of NEP 2020. Core components of IKS in general are Jnan, knowledge or science, and Jivan Darshan, the philosophy of life. And IKS division functions, research group establishment, and also identification of the IKS cell in IKS cell establishment in institutions, forming groups and committees for promoting IKS in educational institutions, and also through curricular integration. How can we integrate into the curriculum? Dr. Mendes has very beautifully explained that. And when we have the Vision 2047, Bharat as Vishwa Guru, we should see that Western knowledge is not enough. Similarly, Indian wisdom also is not enough. A blending of the Western knowledge with Indian wisdom and an integrated approach with a holistic vision will only assure the future security and safety for the coming generations as well as the present generations. When we are waging war against one another, how can we say that we are wise? When we are destroying the environment, which is the very basis of life, how can we say that we are sustainable? And if sustainability is to be attained, if sustainability is not attained, we say that by the turn of the 21st century, either human beings will kill the earth or the earth will kill the human beings. Let us pray that both of these should not happen. Neither of these should happen. Thank you very much.
So for the wonderful session, would you like to take some questions, sir? There are some questions that have been asked.
Yeah, I like to take, yes, sure.
Are you able to see your chat, or should I read them out for you?
Can I just this presentation I should stop it?
Yeah, just close your presentation. Yeah, stop your presentation.
Okay.
So if you come to that, can you see a chat button there, the bottom right? Or I can read it out for you. No?
Yeah, please read it. That would be more interesting.
Okay. There's a question from Priyanka, which is, how do IKS differ from modern scientific approaches to environmental management, and how can IKS be used to address some of the most significant environmental challenges facing indigenous communities today?
Okay. That I have explained it in the beginning itself. Modern science is more mechanistic in nature. And a mechanistic attitude is far away from the ecological attitude. Mechanistic means we find the whole planet and its resources as a machine. That is Newtonian approach. When a machine goes out of order, either we can repair or replace the parts of it. But in the case of nature, which has evolved through the evolution of tens of thousands of years, we cannot repair it as we like, because it has a separate balance of its own, an equilibrium of its own. So what is necessary is that it is with that wisdom that our ancient rishis approached nature. They had always the reverence towards nature. And that is what we call as the sustainability values. When we say we should worship nature, it was an indirect way of protecting nature. For example, I can say, just to narrate an example. You take the case of the sacred groves. In Kerala, in Karnataka, it is there. In Tamil Nadu, it is there. And also even in Gujarat and Maharashtra also, you can see sacred groves. And what are these sacred groves? Sacred groves are places where, on a plot of land, family property, where humans seldom pass into or reach to that place. Trees, insects, small animals, all these are protected through this sacred forest, because we believe that it is very sacred. It should be worshipped. Nobody should get inside. Why? Because if you enter into a forest, the core area of a forest, and place your foot there, we find that while placing the foot, it goes knee deep. Up to our knee, it will go in depth. Why? Because the soil is very much spongy, because for thousands of years, nobody has entered that place. And also by the, twigs, leaves, and remains of the animals got rotten and merged with the soil, and it became a sponge-like thing. The soil is just like spongy. And what happens when water falls on a sponge? The absorption capacity of the water is very high. Second, the retention capacity of water is also very high in a sponge. And third, the releasing capacity of water is very low. So when rainwater during monsoon, water falls on the forest soil absorbs it, retains it throughout the summer season, and releases as rivulets, small droplets of canals and channels in which water supply will be throughout the year. This is the purpose of forest. Just like that, these sacred groves are mini forests on a plot of land, on a family property, and it nourishes the wells and ponds in that property. And that is why there is a saying in Kerala that don't destroy the sacred groves. If you destroy it, your wells and ponds would get dry up. This was considered as a superstition before some 10, 15 years. And now even the government, the leftist government themselves have supported that by giving grants for the protection of sacred groves. This is the Indian wisdom. So many pieces of wisdom we can find in so many rituals and practices associated with our culture. And now that is why the United Nations Traditional Knowledge Initiative has come up. And they also now has recognized that these are sources of sustainability. Without this traditional wisdom, modern science itself cannot last for long. You see how many trillions are being spent for wars. Through my studies, I have made it clear. And why? We are intelligent, but we are crooked at the same time. We are not transparent. And only wisdom and values arising out of wisdom will be able to protect us. I think I have answered it satisfactorily. I don't know. Okay.
There's a question: what could be the best way in which we can incorporate the IKS in present education system?
Yeah, it's already integrated. For example, in our college, I'm from the management department. Many of the management principles, for example, with regard to consumption, what is the consumer's right? In Chanakya's Arthashastra, we come across so many rules and regulations. What should be the punishment for adulteration? Like that, so many practical things we are getting from these ancient texts. The thing is that for the reason that they are ancient, all are not, superstitions. There are some elements of very scientific truths associated with this. We should identify these truths and how much scientific they are. We should study, and also we should integrate this in solving our modern problems. We can very much use it. Okay. And the UGC also has come up with so many modules of study for that.
All right, sir. I think we have reached our time. It's 9 o'clock now.
Okay.
Thank you for the wonderful session on.
Yeah, my special thanks to my friend mentors also, and also to the university for having invited me and given me an opportunity to deliver a lecture on Indian knowledge system. I don't think that it is full. We need some 3 or 4 hours in order to discuss it in detail. But within this 1 hour, you are very attentive, and sincere thanks from the bottom of my heart. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. There is also a feedback form that is there. Please fill that feedback form. It's a LinkedIn post. You can comment on that LinkedIn post as your feedback. Right.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody. We will have tomorrow the session. The tomorrow session is going to be the Panchatantra Understanding Storytelling in IKS by Dr. Bharat Das. Okay, so that will also start at 7 p.m. Please make sure you start at 7 p.m. itself. Right. If you missed this session, if any of you have missed part of this session, you can get the recording of it in the links. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. We will see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. Thank you and have a pleasant evening.
Thank you.